Welcome one, welcome all. Our honorable panelists are taking their seat. They have their microphones. As sound perfectionists, maybe we'll do a quick check for the sounds. Check
hello,
one.
Hello.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Check, check, 1, 2.
Hello, lizards.
Oh.
There you go.
I think
I don't know how to follow
mine's
that up.
not working. I don't know why.
I wonder if
Done
you can
now.
guess who
We
that
don't
is.
have to do anymore.
No,
Just don't follow it up.
And go.
Do you do Nora Night, sir? Which
I'm
one
the
are
Lotus.
you? All right, so, what? Welcome to our sound panel. This is our 4th year running the sound panel. We have some awesome guests this time. This is the first time we're live streaming the panel, so if you're watching in chat, we're super excited to have you here. If you're here at the show floor, we're going to spend the next, 50 minutes, 50 minutes. Enunciation is key for a voice actor. I don't have that skill, but that's okay. Without further ado, I'd love to meet our panelists. First up, George.
Hey guys, I'm. Do I introduce myself? Like, do I
Please
say
clap for
something?
George.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm the artist formerly known as George Spanos. No, I'm George Spanos, and I'm the audio director at DE.
You've been on, making Warframe happen for a long time, George.
Long time, I guess. Well, I was talking about that with somebody 6, 7 years now. I guess 2012, right?
Yep.
Ish?
Oh, yeah.
So long time.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Next up, our first guest at a TennoCon sound panel. This is Cheryl Mebane.
Mebane.
Mebane,
all
damn
good.
it. I heard your podcast when you corrected someone else when you were doing it with the Australian guys. And I was like, I won't forget that, and I forgot it.
Yeah, it's all good. That's literally how everyone handles it. We always get it wrong, and then we move on. It's all good.
And we are so honored to have you here. You've entered the Warframe universe with a very intriguing character, Nora Night.
Yes. Hey there, dreamers. How y'all doing?
And last but not least, no stranger no stranger to the Warframe voice acting library, and also no stranger to the Warframe community. He's an awesome and engaging part of what makes Warframe so great. Lucas Schoenman.
Hi, guys. Wow. Numero 3 TennoCon for me. This is amazing. You guys keep bringing me back. What's wrong with you? I have no idea why. What have I done?
When
What
you
have
gave
I
us
done
your
to
blood
deserve this?
sample, when we
Yes, I am, along with several of the characters that I voice. One of the ghouls on the Plains of Eidolon named Rictus Ghoul, one with the buzzsaw that sounds like he's from Mad Max. That's me. Also, a very certain Grineer scientist named Tyl Regor. And yes, I'm very excited now as well. And also an individual by the name of Nef Anyo, the most punchable corpus out there. And by the way, actually, now that I said that out loud, I don't know if anyone lost these, but I found these in the Lost and Found. I think someone actually, does someone have these? I don't know who they belong to. Hold on, I think there's a name. Oh yes, Thursby.
Oh no! Now.
Welcome to TennoCon.
Wow. We murder people here. Like, that is, like, you said you were going to do something, and I was like, oh, he's probably going to do a line. No.
Lucas always goes off script, and it's good.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's beautiful.
There you
It's
go.
only half a cosplay, don't worry.
What is it made of?
What?
What's it made of? I'm curious.
That's inflatable mannequin legs.
Nobody wants to touch it, by the way. It's just like,
They
everyone's
don't
like,
do
I
it.
don't know.
yeah, that was weird.
Those are a pair of inflatable mannequin legs that I got on Amazon.
You can't see it from
And
the
then a
camera.
pair of tights, and I spent the last 2 days with a Sharpie doing the lines of them. True story.
You got to get him on the art panel too
I'm
next year,
like-
I think.
I'm an artist now, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I think
Obviously.
so. Right?
Wow.
I can hear Mara in the back going, "My boy."
This is so sad. Poor Tamara. So we've kind of already done our intro in the most theatrical and beautiful way possible. We're going to do some questions, we're going to play some games, and then we're going to do an audience Q&A at the end. I'll call you guys up at that time. You're going to line up in the middle, but the time is not now. First, we must start with the serious part. There's a lot of people here who are aspiring voice actors, aspiring sound designers, that might just be interested in literally how did you get started in the industry. So we'll start with George, then we'll go Cheryl, then we'll go Lucas. So
Yeah, so I got started, I went to school. I always knew that I wanted to work in sound. I went to college. Then I worked in post-production, doing television and radio commercials and some short films and some TV series, and then decided I wanted to do something even crazier and get into game development, and then pursued that and to do the sound design thing now for 13, 14 years in video games at DE. Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
We're clapping. We're all clapping all the time.
oh, it's wonderful, all the love. So I got started in voice acting after getting some training in voice acting. And I decided to do this because my husband was like, you talk so very much. Let's make some money off of this, literally.
Wow.
This is why. And so, yeah, my start in the industry was audiobooks. I'm an author also. So, and then I moved over into doing more auditioning in other genres.
That's awesome. So audiobooks are amazing. I listen to them all the time. Do you find it easier, this is just a total sub question,
Yeah.
easier to do a consistent reading of an audiobook or characters? What do you...
Okay, audiobooks are really challenging because there are characters within them, because you do like fiction and then you have to end up doing like 40 characters. 40 characters. So I find that really challenging. But one of the things that's really just a long haul with audiobooks is doing the editing. A lot of us who are not big time people, we have to do our own editing.
Oh, okay.
So that's just a slog.
You're like, not only do I have to read the book, I have to edit the book that
The
you just
fun part
read.
is reading. It's really fun and it's a lot faster than the editing.
Oh man, that's awesome. And Lucas?
I got my start in, first of all, in radio, and then kind of blended a little bit of just theater that I'd always just loved from like school and this community theater. And I was just like, I think it was like 2007, I was like, hey, people get paid to make voices for things. Yeah, they do. I should look into that. And it was about 2.5 years of about looking into it. And then I was like, talking to people, that person talked to another person, that person talked to another person, that person had a workshop, that workshop had a person there who was starting a Facebook group, that Facebook group had a thing. It just led one thing into another, and all of a sudden I'm just like, hey, you want to audition for Cooking Mama? And it's like, what? What?
Hell yeah.
How does that work? How does that work? Yeah, sure. And so I just happened to find myself doing things, and now here we are almost 10 years later, you know, I think I've got 150 video games under my belt right now. And I'm just like what
literally
the heck?
right now in your
Yeah,
boat?
well, it's under my fanny pack actually,
Oh,
but
excellent.
still, it's regardless. It's so much fun. I would rather be doing nothing else than this. This is so much fun, and one of the best things you got to do is you got to enjoy this stuff, or it's not going to matter at all. And so yeah, that's how I got started. Was basically just like a blend of everything, and then I just like, hey. Realization that there can be money in this. I should look for a job.
I love it. That's awesome. I just want to say, for anyone watching in chat, this is a charity event, and you do have the option to live donate to the Canadian Mental Health Association. So feel free to bring some donations our way during the panel. Maybe we'll set the donation record for this sound panel. Who
Let's
knows?
do it. Let's do it.
So don't forget to donate to the CMHA. This is
Give your donations to the void, everyone.
Yes.
Wait, we have a corpus on stage, and we just asked for money. This is gonna.
That would all,
very,
yeah.
Very,
yes.
very
I
cool.
I just wander into panel, donate to the void, and just fade out. I would do totally.
Our next question is about Warframe, and maybe what surprised you most about Warframe, whether either playing, reading about it, reading that first audition. Maybe George, what surprises you 6 years in, 7 years in, 8 years?
Everything surprises me. Actually, I shouldn't be surprised by anything, but I'm always surprised all the time. I'm surprised at how the team comes together, and I mean the whole dev team, to make it what it is. You know, if you guys could see the insanity that goes into every update, there are times where I'm like, how's this gonna work? It's never gonna work, and it always works. So that's the thing that I'm always inspired and surprised by all the time.
His sound team is in the front row nodding.
Yeah.
They're like, yes.
Yeah, and the sound team represent. Yep, we got Willem, Eric, David, Carl, Mark is around somewhere. Jeff is around somewhere. A bunch of great people
They're
working
probably
on our
mixing
team.
the stream, being like, it's mono, it's mono.
Yeah. Jeff is our stream master, worrying about the audio. So.
Yeah. And Cheryl, what has surprised you most about Warframe?
Well, what surprised me most was the depth of story. Characters were so richly drawn. It's not that I had a big preconception that it was going to be one way or the other, but it was just so rich and so deep. I thought, is this normal? I don't do a lot of video game work like Lucas. I don't know if this is normal. seems surprising.
You have a PhD. Stop now.
Yes.
Stop.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
I do, but
I'm the scientist, but she's got the PhD. What the heck's up with this? What's going on? I love it.
You're
I love
a fake
it.
scientist, Lucas. We outed you.
Yes.
And for you, Lucas, what has surprised you most? You've had a long relationship with the game now, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's over 3 years now that I've been bringing Nef and Tyl in, and I think the biggest thing that surprised me was Tyl, actually, and I think the reason was, it only followed and I think we've talked about this a lot before, George, is that, it's like 3 weeks after I got taken in for Nef, they were like, there was an audition, I was like, oh, I'll try this one out too, and it ended up being Warframe again, didn't know that, and it was Tyl Regor, and once we finished working on that for the Tube Men of Regor event, when that thing went live, the response from the community was not only incredible, but damn near unanimous.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember there was a member of the sound team that was like, literally wrote me, they're like, this has never happened before. They've never all agreed on one thing, but it's amazing. And so having everybody kind of come together on that, not about what I've done, but then also over the course of the years of me working on this, just to see the community, and I'm not trying to get all hokey and Disney on you guys, but I mean, really, it's just, you guys are so fucking awesome. You really are.
We love the community.
The dedication that you guys put into all of this, the dedication that you put into your fashion frames, the dedication you put into your dojos, the dedication you put into, I don't know, TennoCon, is freaking amazing. And that continues to amaze me every single year.
It's
really
great.
does.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I see people coming and saying, "Hey, I flew here from Iceland, Denmark," and I'm like, "Yep."
It's
God.
incredible, and it's like, because we work on this game 365 days a year, and this is the one day that we get to come here and see all the amazing people. Well, not all of them, but a big portion of them who support us, and it's amazing to see that.
How many people came from another country, not Canada? Hands up. Like, if
Wow.
you came,
Insane! It's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I love that.
That was like
It's amazing.
90% of the
For
audience.
those watching on stream, there were a lot of hands that just raised
There
up
were,
into the
yeah,
air.
90%.
You could complete the body if you just took some of those, and you could have arms and legs.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
All right, our next question is, what do you look forward to most about Warframe and its characters? So George has a different approach on this, I think, than perhaps our voice actors, but I'd love to hear all your answers.
Yeah, I mean, like Lucas said, I always look forward to what is the next character going to be and where can we take it? Like, what kind of weird, crazy thing are the writers going to dream up that we have to put sound to? And that's probably the thing, for me anyway, that keeps it going and is one of the most fundamental and exciting parts, because it keeps it interesting, So I look forward to just the difference and the craziness of each character. And also, like you alluded to, Lucas, we never know what it's going to end up being, because a lot of the times we'll write a character and we're like, well, we want it to have this kind of an intonation and this kind of a flavor, and then an actor will do something really crazy and interesting in the audition, and we're like, oh man, like, let's shift gears, let's do that, let's write for that. So that's always the thing that I look forward to with characters and the game.
So what I look forward to is just learning the community more and learning this game more. I'm not a gamer.
Totally
So,
cool.
yeah, I mean, this is a lot. As far as characters, I mean, just seeing people's responses to being able to share here and other places online especially is pretty overwhelming and wonderful. I look forward to dipping into that whenever y'all let me and whenever people reach out. I sort of look forward to the community around it. I don't know if that answers the question, but
We treasure
into
that.
mine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
4 words. Nef Anyo boss fight.
Oh,
And I've said that before, and I've also said what I'm about to say before, but I think it answers this question really well. It's one of the things that I'd love to see Nef Anyo lose it, because the Tenno pushed him so far, and Conman facade goes completely away, Preacher facade goes completely away, and it's just all Conman. And it's just like, you know what? No, screw the Void anymore. It's you and me. We're doing this thing now. And I want to see that happen, because I have no idea where the writers will take it. I have no idea where you'll want to take it, George. And I'm just like, I want to see where it goes.
Actually, one of our writers is right there. I think he's doing some
Yeah.
photographers. That's Ryan Mole. You can
Ryan
put your hand
Mole.
up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I actually see
Cam
two more
Rogers.
voice
There's a man right
actors
here.
in the back, Mark
Cam.
and
Oh
Tamara.
my God.
So,
Yep.
Ryan and Cam,
Some amazing writing from those guys.
writing team. People have asked me that too, and they'd go like, you know, it's like, wow, I really love all the stuff that you do on Warframe, and I'm like, yeah, that's like 30% me and like everything else these guys, because holy crap, the writing is so great. I can never say enough stuff about the writing. It's so good.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
So
We're so-
It's good to see
very
the whole
interesting
script. You get
characters.
to see everything.
Yep.
I get to see all the notes from DE when it says ZOMG Railjack. That's always fun to see. That was
Just kidding.
You signed
No,
an
that was
NDA.
last
with
year.
this
That was
kind of
great.
thing.
I was like, Danielle Hobbs on her thing. That's great. So it was great. I love that kind of stuff. Just the amount of stuff that you guys put into it and the dedication that you give to us as actors to let us take the writing and then do what we're going to do with it. It's not just like a spreadsheet of just line, line, line. It's a whole script. It's like reading a movie, and it's just great.
Well, that's where the character lives, right? The character
Exactly.
lives in
Yes.
the interpretation, and that goes as well for sound design. You're designing the sound of a Warframe. What is your interpretation of it as a sound designer or as a voice artist? How are you gonna bring this thing to life? And that's the thrill in it, and that's the thing that's always the most interesting.
Yeah, and it gets better and better when you have a nurturing, safe place to do that kind of thing.
That's
and
it
that's
too.
what y'all create, you know, just
Absolutely.
this great place for us to get in there and interpret.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at our next question. If you could make up a Warframe character to voice, what would it be?
Well, well, should I say this? My favorite Warframe character is Warframe is Octavia. So she's, I mean.
Did you see the Octavia cosplay here?
I didn't. I've been looking all around for her because I think for me, like as a sound designer, musician, that was kind of the ultimate thing that I got to work on was to make a music sequencer in a game. Like, how crazy is that? So I don't know if that answers the question. I don't voice, well, I'm like a Grenier and a Corpus here and there, but yeah.
You wouldn't make
I
up,
don't-
you don't want to make up like some heartbreak story about a rock star who didn't get money from the Corpus and he hates the Tenno because Octavia
that.
stole his headliner. That's
We
not
should
your-
do that.
All
That's a
right.
great idea for us. I think you should pitch that.
All right, Steve, if you're listening, we're gonna have a story like that. But yeah, invent a character that you would want to voice. And if you don't have an answer, that's cool too.
All right, I don't have an answer, but I like to use Southern accents all the time. So if you want to hire me for that, I'd love that.
To be honest, we had the Fortuna Solarans have Australians accents. So I feel like it's only a matter of time until we incorporate more accents into the game.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, we really should. We really should.
Let's do it.
Yep.
I know I'm not the only nerd here.
Yes, you are, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not wearing JoJo pants. We're not talking about that, but still. Love you, dear. Love you, dear. I was thinking about this, and I was like, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a Warframe come out that was focused solely on number crunching. Like they were just a math nerd. And like all of their abilities were focused on calculators, abacuses, just something crazy. And like the sounds that you would hear, speaking of sounds, would be something just like internal math, add the 3, divide by 7. I mean, I think that would just be nerdy, and oh my God, where would you take that? I would love to see it.
You could divide someone in half.
Oh!
You could multiply. Oh! Which you already did.
Yeah! I'm inspiring you.
Excellent. All right. So you just said you were a nerd. So this is a great next question for you. Do you find yourself being like a super nerd of a given fandom? Like, what's
Absolutely.
what is it?
I actually would say that this is actually a recent development within the last 2 years. And anybody that follows me on Twitter knows that I'm a big old nerd, especially you two right there. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Dungeons and Dragons. Holy crap.
Yes.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Half-orc monk for life, yo. Open hand fist. I mean, whoo. I am, it's a recent development for me, but I mean, you know, it used to be just like books. It used to be just like a whole bunch of different things out there that I used to love, and I kind of do fluctuate from one thing to another. But I found that D&D not only is great for just, you know, group gaming but it's also group storytelling, it's lore building, it's world building, it's scenario building, and it's also, as an actor, it's a wonderful way to take characterizations and build a character, watch them evolve, watch them grow, make decisions, roll a dice, go, oh, that ain't happening. Oh, how are you gonna react to that? And it's improv too. So there's all sorts of different facets of nerddom, fantasy, imagination, acting, all of it comes together, and I would highly recommend, if you haven't joined a D&D group, it's come a long way from your mom's basement. Really go to your local game shop and get started. It would be, you'll love it.
Couldn't agree more. What about you, Cheryl? What's on your your playlists or?
Well, I love to watch Elementary. Okay, now let me tell you how much of a fan I am of Johnny Lee Miller. I went to see him on Broadway like last Wednesday. I took the mega bus from DC to see this man, and the woman sitting next to me in the almost very back row of this wonderful place on Broadway was like, I am here for Johnny Lee Miller, and I said, I am here for Johnny Lee Miller, and we are here for Johnny Lee Miller. That is why we're here.
Johnny Lee, are you here tonight? Oh, what if you imagine? Imagine. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really into music and different kinds of music. And it's funny, like if you look at my Spotify playlists, it's like just a whole bunch of anything and everything. And like, I don't know, right now, I don't know if anybody, there's this great Canadian band, Metric. I don't know if anybody heard. I'm totally into Metric. I love Metric. They're fantastic. And so I guess I'm a fandom of music. And
You're a music nerd. It makes
Music-
sense
music nerd.
considering
Music nerd.
you're in your own
yeah.
band and you also do stuff for Warframe, so
Yeah,
it makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
All right, let's take a look. Do you have any major inspiration for the work that you do in all of its facets? So,
Yeah, I have a lot of, you talking people or just things in general?
maybe, so say we asked you people. Who's your people?
Yeah, Randy Tom, who's a sound designer, works at Skywalker Sound, was a huge influence on me. I remember, it's hilarious. I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, I sent him an email and said, hey, I'm just this nobody, can you give me any tips? And he graciously wrote back to me, and it was amazing. And so he's kind of like the godfather of sound design, him and Ben Burtt. So I look up to them. Ben Burtt, of course, Star Wars, and Randy Tom, a whole bunch of really, really great movies. So yeah, those are the two people that I really look up to.
Cheryl?
Well, major inspiration for me in trying to be present in my performance would be like Power of Now kind of philosophy.
Awesome.
And that's really what I'm trying to bring to. I used to drum and jazz. I did a lot of improv.
Oh, nice.
So you have to stay very present there, and improv and acting a little bit. So
you have the headspace, you're in it, and then you draw your power from it. That's awesome. Lucas.
I think for me, as an actor, I've always been attracted to actors that love to kind of fade into their roles, and like you identify them more by their characters than like, oh, it's that actor.
Right.
It's just you say them, and I think like a good example would be Mark Hamill's Joker in Batman the Animated Series, or the Arkham games and all of the other variations, is that you see it that's the Joker. And then you have to tell yourself, oh, that's Mark Hamill. Oh, that's Mark Hamill that's doing that. And so any kind of actor that does that, and like for like film actors, like I've always, appreciated the works of like, Kevin Spacey and Al Pacino and John Malkovich and Robert Duvall, and people that basically really fall into their work and really become their characters. And that's always what I've looked up to.
You realize how hard it is, right, too? Like, especially if you're doing the job, again, for sound design, you realize once you start doing it, how hard it actually is to try to follow in those footsteps. And I'm sure for voice acting too, right? Like, you get a new appreciation for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always sometimes, well, not always, but every now and then there comes this point where you have to say like, this character or this actor passed away and we need a replacement. This actor has stepped down, his contract has run out, we need a replacement. Something else has just happened, we need a replacement. You need to do a voice match for this character, for this actor in this show. I got to voice match Ving Rhames for a movie one time.
Really?
Pro tip, I don't look like Ving Rhames.
But
Who knows
that's
who
kind of
Ving Rhames is.
crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I never thought about like if someone, because there's a lot of series when actors have passed away and such that you need a replacement, like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And that's what it is. And it's like you got to step into their shoes. And if it's worse sometimes if someone was let go, or if there was a creative decision to move on to somebody else. Because if there's fans out there, then they're like, well, I like the old person better. And you're like, it's new. Don't hate on me. I'm doing the best I can here.
It's not my fault.
I'm not my fault.
All right, let's
So
see.
yeah, but there is that struggle. And so being able to not impersonate, but I think make the character your own and blend all the instructions, all the directions together and get layer upon layer upon layer. And everybody's got to be an onion sometimes, and you got to just make it go. And I think and when you can hit that sweet spot, it's great.
The sweet onion spot.
Nef Anyo.
Oh my God. Do you have
I
any
got puns all day, y'all. I can do this all day.
just a general tip or two for aspiring voice actors? Maybe some people in the crowd have been interested in pursuing it. So one tip per.
Yeah, as a non-voice actor, I think just always, always be practicing your craft. Always be trying different things, trying different characters, seeing, because I think that's how like you were saying, Lucas, you don't want to imitate somebody, but you want to embody them. You want to become a character. And I think the more you practice that and the more you develop that skill, the better you'll get at being your own voice and discovering your own voice. So just keep doing that, I think.
Cheryl?
Probably a well-rounded kind of education. So if you're coming out of acting, sort of dip over into the world of sound design so you can understand a little bit of what's going on around you. And if you come out of the world of music and sound, then, get your fundamentals in acting is probably the suggestion.
Yeah, and I think that's really valid, especially because you said you edit a lot of your own stuff, so you at least need that cursory understanding of editing tools.
And then you learn what it's like from an engineering standpoint to kind of go, it's just taking this voice and then doing something with it. It's clipping it. It's editing out the breaths. It's normalizing the volume. It's understanding where your peaks and valleys are and how you normalize all that stuff. And this is like, for people who are like, what the heck's he talking about? Look into it. It'll save you. It'll book you a gig when you don't have that. Otherwise, you don't have that knowledge. I think for me, going along the same lines of not trying to be a mimic so much. I think mimicry, when you're beginning, mimicry is something that you want to do. Mimicry is something that we do not as children, but as like beginning voice actors kind of getting into it. It's like, oh, you sound like that other actor, character, blah 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 blah. You sound like that. You would be good. Or if you have a deep voice, oh, you should sound good. Oh, you have a unique voice. Oh, you should sound good. More than anything else, though, not all work is character voiceover work. Most of the work that's going to be out there, and I'd probably wager about 80% of the voiceover work that's out there is going to be done with your natural voice, your unaffected natural voice. Commercial, narration, audiobook, especially for the narrator stuff and not just the characters that come along, is going to be done with your natural voice. So I would say a big tip was learn how to appreciate your actual normal conversational tone. You don't have to like your voice, but you have to find that your voice has value, it has worth, it has a place, and it doesn't need to be anything other than just appreciated for what it is. Then you build on the characters. Then you start building from that.
That was so inspirational by the end.
Oh,
Oh, look at that. Oh.
I say the same thing to my little tube man every night. I say, you can do this. You can do this, Gary. They're all named Gary. You've been killing Garys this entire time.
I knew it.
Shame.
So just, can you just tell us a little story about the first time Nora Night was directed, from casting to the recording session? So Cheryl, if you want to kick that off, and then George can, because George casts things in a way, so let's...
So for me, Nora Night casting was through one of the major sites for a lot of different types of voice opportunities, and I just go there like everyone else goes there, and I try my little thing. And I remember thinking, I actually said to my husband after this, because there was a lot of detail was there about the character, but there wasn't a lot about, who you would be working with. But I told my husband after, I don't care if I get it, because that was a lot of fun to do. I sat down on that mic and I was like, this is fun, y'all. I mean, that's not how she sounds, obviously, but in my head I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. So yeah, so that was my experience of doing the audition was that. And I don't feel that way all the time. A lot of times you're thinking about your natural voice. That's not my natural voice. You can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that shows, right? It's like, you know, if the actor's having a good time with it, you can tell, you know, and when the actor's into it, the believability is there. And that's the number one thing that we listen to when we get auditions in, is we listen, is this believable? Is this gonna work? Is this telling the story? You know, and Cheryl knocked it out of the park, obviously, so.
You're amazing,
Thank
Cheryl.
you.
Oh,
Thank you.
round of applause.
We were talking about this at the brunch. I was like, when they know that you're here, they're just gonna go, "Oh my God, I love your voice so much. You're so cool." I said, "You're gonna." As I said, somebody here is gonna cry when they meet you.
I'm not ready, you guys. Please don't cry.
I was like, I wasn't ready either when it happened to me. I didn't know either. I'm gonna cry too. I don't know.
Don't think you're off the hook, Lucas, because I want to know about.
Yeah.
Walk us through the Fortuna Nef Anyo. So from script to recording.
Yeah. Well, Fortuna Nef Anyo, we started off with a demo for TennoCon last year, and then a couple months later we got into the full script of it. So I kind of knew a little bit from the demo about where we were going to go with, oh, here's Venus, and oh, here's some other stuff. And it's like, all right, cool. And then I was like, but I had no idea about the Solaris. I had no idea about the story that was involved in that. Also, Ryan, who's not there.
Oh, he moved.
He was here. That's fine. Anyway, Ryan and I sat down. I think it was about 2 hours worth of recording that we did over the phone. That we literally recorded the whole bit of the Fortuna, the opening mission to Fortuna, where you get to meet Thursby, and you get to meet Utico and Business and Smokefinger and Rude, Zood, and everybody. And as I was, again, reading the whole script, and it's one of the great things about Warframe is that they give you the whole script. So I'm reading everything, and it's going like, wow, look at all these characters. This is so cool. Who are these people? Da-da-da-da. And then you read all this stuff, and as I got further and further and further, I only had one thought. I'm like, Nef Anyo's a bastard.
Yes.
I hate myself. I'd punch myself if I could. Oh, I will. Boom. You know, just something.
But it just sounds like you love it so much, Lucas.
Yeah, it is one of those things. It's that, and I've learned to appreciate that you love him so. You know, you love to hate him. You love to hate him, and
Yeah.
it's like, I have no problem playing those characters until the day I die. I have no problem. But I remember specifically one line where I was just reading it out loud, and I was just going like, I don't want to be Nef Anyo anymore. He's mad. And I know what it was, too. It was when he called out Utico, the floor boss, and it was just like, oh, finally, someone with some backbone. Bring me your, what was it? Bring me the 50
Solaris.
50 Solaris for brain shelving. You have 1 hour. And
You're a
it's
bit of
just
a
like,
jerk, you know.
I'm a jerk.
Yeah?
I'm such a jerk. I hate myself.
George, do you get to ask, like, no, make it more evil. We wanna hate that.
Oh
kid.
yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done that too. They're like, yeah, you enjoyed that too much. Could you like hate a lot more with that line?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the take when there's laughing in the room, and you know, you're just like, oh my God, this is crazy and
Yeah.
ridiculous and over the top.
And
It's so much fun.
Here's your line. It's a cute puppy. Now snap its neck.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
like,
but
no!
in a humorous way. In a humorous way. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we have a very special video from our sound team next. George, do you want to intro this at all, or what's your thinking here?
Sorry?
You want to intro this video?
Oh,
at
intro
all?
it, yeah. So this is a bunch of behind the scenes of some of the sound design that we do for the game. You'll see there's modular, which if any of you have watched any of our other kind of live streams, modular is a big thing at DE these days, and the DE sound designers' paychecks automatically get garnished to go to modular purchases. But yeah, so a lot of that, and a lot of behind the scenes of like recording. You'll see some stuff for Wisp in here, and
we're about to break some hearts for people that are a little too in love with Wisp, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you love her sounds. I think there's a moment in this video that's like the curtain gets pulled back, and
yeah, there's
it's
a lot
amazing.
of curtain being pulled back here. So this, and it's the magic of sound design. You know, it's an amazing job, and it's amazing that you get to bring life to to things that are silent. And it's like, okay, here you go. Here's something that doesn't make any sound. Now, think of a cool way to give this character or this thing a sound in the game. And by the way, do it differently than you did the last time, right?
Yeah.
So we're always looking for new sounds. The guys are always out recording things. And yeah, and you'll see some of that in this video.
You are in for a treat. Let's bring the house lights down, make sure the sounds to our wonderful sound team, and here we go.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Wow. Wow. Like,
that was a little sneak peek at some new music that's going to be in the game. And it's just a little thing about that whole thing. It just reinforces the fact that you have to record many different sounds. And, you know, the wood stuff, for example, who knows? We may use that stuff in a gun. You know, the chains, like, it doesn't have to be literal. That's the one thing, if you're looking to get into sound design, always, anything that makes a sound can be anything you want it to be. And it doesn't have to be the thing that it currently is, which is amazing. You're kind of like a alchemist or something. You're changing water into wine or something, which is amazing. So always recording stuff. And you never know what you're going to end up using it for. So
a huge thank you to providing that video. I mean, the sound team's up here in the front row after the panel. Hopefully they can all go sign some autographs after, because you guys do amazing work. So that's awesome. And again, that video is such a treat to see just how things get made. I know some spoilers are in there, and it's going to be amazing when people see
some pretty big spoilers in there.
Yeah, you'll
actually.
see. So I have a little trivia game, but due to time in the panel to still get a Q&A, and we're just going to do the first half of the trivia, which is you have to guess the Warframe sound. So I'm going to play a sound that's a power cast of a given Warframe.
Okay.
And as a group, individually, however you want, you can...
As a group.
Wait, as a group. You can guess... I'm going to give you multiple choice because I'm not evil. The Lotus is not evil. Or is she? And then we're gonna see. So here we go. First power. I'll give you one more play.
Well, it can't be Octavia, right? So I think we can just strike through that one.
All right, no Octavia.
All right. I don't want to say Cora. I've only played Octavia.
I spoiled it. It's Baruch. I misclicked.
Baruch.
Baruch was the answer.
Monks. Yeah, baby. Woo.
A funny, good story again behind Baruch and his sound design, which Willem, one of our sound designers, created. You know, he used a lot of like rain sticks and a lot of like pieces of wood and stuff to give Baruch a kind of very tribal, elemental feel. And of course, if you've been down to the
in the museum.
Yep. You'll see something very special that was used for Baruch that Willem brought into the office one day, and we were like, okay, he's officially gone over the deep end. But it ended up working amazing. So
that's awesome. All right, number 2. Here we go.
Okay.
Too easy.
what does the audience think?
I think. Yeah.
Octavia, yeah.
Yeah.
Gara? No, it is Gara.
That's nicely done, guys.
Yeah,
Well done.
there you
Yeah,
go.
glass
I
sound.
was like, yes,
Was any glass harmed in the making of that sound?
I don't think so. I think there was. I don't
Was
know.
glass harmed?
Was there any glass harmed in that?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we needed separate insurance policies when we bring the glass out. But you know, filling a glass with water and running your finger on it and all of that kind of stuff. And you know, it's interesting that everybody kind of really associated that with Gara, and I think she's one of the best frames.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna make some fans in chat live. They're like, Gara mains.
Yes.
All right, here we go. This one's tough.
Ooh. Wow, you guys are on it,
Okay.
man. That's good.
I think. Okay. Cheryl's saying Rhino on this one.
That's a really good guess. Rhino's a really good guess.
If I only played melee characters, dang it.
You can ask the audience if you
If
want.
I only knew a Rhino main in the audience. Oh my
Audience?
god.
We should ask the audience.
Is that an Aros?
Yeah.
Is it an Aros? It's an
Correct.
Aros.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the tomb one? Is that the tomb one he does?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That makes more sense. That makes more sense then. There you go.
All right, and then we have one more sound trivia, and then we're gonna take about 10 questions. So if you guys want to line up, we'll do that. So first, if anyone has any questions for our sound team, we'll take those after we do the final trivia.
It's the final trivia. Ooh.
They said
Now-
balls.
Yeah, an oldie but a goodie,
Now-
I think, in that one.
Yeah. One more time.
It's Frost, I think. I hope.
I would, yeah. Sounds like
Frost
ice.
is correct.
Yeah.
That definitely sounds like some
Yeah.
ice stuff.
Yeah, we went out and recorded
I
a
played
lot
some
of
Frost mains. I'm like, I know that sound.
ice and snow.
Was real ice used in the making of that?
Yeah, definitely. And see, that's the thing too. Like sometimes the real thing is the real thing, and it's up to you to kind of put it together and weave it into something new and exciting, and give it a personality and a life. So yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to
Yeah.
do about 5 minutes of questions, and then there is another panel after us, so we want to give them
All
enough
right,
time
cool.
to set up. So.